All right. Let's see. Welcome everyone to the third edition of the Fusion Podcast. I'm your host, Kevin Bacon, and with me today I have Fusion president from 2014 to 2015, Andrew Lund. Please introduce yourself.
Oh, hey, yeah. My name's Andrew Lund, Fusion President 2014 2015, Programs Coordinator 2013 2014. I graduated year 2016 with a degree in civil engineering. And yeah, I've just been working ever since.
For sure, for sure. Glad to have you on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
No problem. Per Fusion tradition, we like to do those icebreakers. So
hmm
this icebreaker for this podcast is what's your favorite games slash podcast at the moment?
Um, I think I'll just answer. I'll answer both because why
Oh,
not?
okay.
So for podcasts, um, probably one of my favorite podcasts to listen to is called School of Greatness by
Oh,
Louis Howe.
good.
It's a pretty good podcast. He just brings on people who talk about they're experts in different fields, and it's pretty helpful with me, especially like after graduating, gave me a
Mm,
lot of insight on just like how to work on yourself and just be a better person.
okay.
Um, and then for a game, I don't know, I really like card games, so I play a lot of like Hearthstone.
Oh, oh,
um,
oh, I
but
understand.
I've been playing they have like this auto battler mode, whatever, called Battlegrounds,
Oh,
and
okay.
I've been like I've been playing a lot of that,
It's all good.
especially because it's COVID, so you can't really go outside that much. I
Exactly.
definitely have a lot of time to like play games.
For sure, for sure. Man, love that pot. I might need to listen to that podcast considering I'm about to graduate soon. But
Yeah, it definitely helps you learn a lot about yourself that maybe helps you get your crap together.
I mean, like,
It's a big transition when you go from like talking to like students to talking to like grown adults.
yeah,
Yeah.
honestly, still have trouble trying to, I still get nervous talking to people that are older than me, if I'm being
Yeah.
completely honest. But
Well, this podcast is probably a cool way to work on that too.
yeah, honestly, so I'm getting my myself out there. Anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, so you could just start off with the list of questions.
All
First one
right.
is I see that you switched from biomedical into civil engineering. So the question is, do you have any advice when it comes to like switching majors? Like when is a good time to do it? Like how do you know when you should be doing it?
hmm Yeah, I mean, it just kind of depends on like I guess your trajectory on like when you want to graduate, you know? Like
Hmm.
for me, it's like I had like funding for college, but I only get it for 4 years. So I knew that like if I was gonna change my major, I better do it like right away. So like I changed my
Okay.
major halfway through like my first quarter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so like I mean it was unique because biomedical engineering has like an intro class, which I think most classes don't really have,
Hmm.
and kind of like in that class they're just telling us how it's kind of how like undeveloped the program is and kind of like how limited your options are. It's like you do med school or you do research, and it's like I kind of just want to do 4 years and work. So
Mm, okay.
so that wasn't really for me. So I swapped out. One of my friends was doing civil engineering. He told me about it, so I decided to give it a shot, and I kind of just like stuck with it since. So I mean, so advice for switching majors. Um, One, it'll be easier the quicker you do it. You're kind of
Hmm.
like your first 2 years are kind of like the best time to switch.
Yeah.
Otherwise, when you're in your third or fourth year, switching's pretty scary.
Yeah.
I thought about switching during my third year. I talked to a counselor and everything, and it's just like all the signs pointed towards probably doing 5, maybe 6 if you don't do summer school. It's
Oof.
like you're gonna be cramming a lot of classes to get like catch up on all the classes you missed during your first 2 years.
I see. I
So
see.
if you're trying to graduate, as soon as possible, then maybe switch by your end of your second year. Talk to people, definitely talk to people, talk to a counselor. They kind of have like a good idea of like
Hmm.
what your plan would be and kind of like what you would kind of be looking at in terms of future trajectory if you went down this career path or I guess education path.
Yeah.
But if you're doing it during your third or fourth year, you're pretty much banking on like you might be staying at UCI a little bit longer than you hoped for.
Honestly, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, in my case, I switched. God, I feel like I talked about this in every single podcast, but
Uh-huh.
I switched from mathematics to film. But the
Hmm.
only reason why I was able to do it, like by the end of my first year, was because I was already taking some film classes beforehand. So
Uh,
it kind of like basically where when I switched majors, I also went to the counselor to ask for advice. Like it's like, oh, how many more classes do I need to take? And it's like, oh, you're basically like you basically fulfilled like the requirements up to that point for most film students after their first year. So I'm like, oh,
mhm.
so it's just like, okay, I could just chill.
Yeah, it's
Like,
pretty lucky. Like
yeah.
even for me, like even though I took that intro class, that was like the only class that I took that wasn't beneficial like towards
Oh,
my major, you know? And I
I
still
see.
had to take like summer classes for engineering just to keep up, you know?
Hmm.
So it's pretty wild, especially for engineers to even just graduate in 4 years. So definitely weigh your options.
Honestly, yeah. I respect engineers and the amount of classes and like how much effort they put, especially when like if they want to graduate in 40 years, it's like recommended 5 years. It's like, oh my God,
Yeah.
that's just recommended. Like
Hmm.
then people still try to cram it into four with taking summer school.
Yeah,
It's
it's
pretty wild.
crazy. Hmm.
Yeah. All right. We could go on to the next question.
Hmm.
So tell me more about your current job and how you are developing professionally.
Yeah, so right now I'm in my third job since graduating. I've been working for, yeah, I guess almost 5 years, or I guess 4.5 years now. Um, so right now I work in San Diego. I do residential development projects. I do single family custom homes in Rancho Santa Fe, which is
Oh,
let's see, it's kind of like the Beverly Hills of like San Diego.
I see.
So so yeah, they're like pretty much I'm working with like rich people doing big homes, stuff like that. And you get to work with some pretty interesting clients.
I
So
see.
it's pretty exciting. Yeah.
It's pretty
Um
cool.
yeah, so that's just kind of what I do right now in terms of like how I'm developing professionally. You know, I'm just trying to get better as an engineer. I guess there's just not a lot they teach you in college in terms of just like
Hands-on experience.
what your work actually entails.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so you don't really understand it until you're actually in the weeds. And your first year is definitely a big learning curve, I guess you can say.
I
Um,
see.
so now it's just focusing on making less mistakes and just being more efficient and just learning as much as you can within the how many hours a week you work. So
I see.
yeah, definitely it's a work in progress. But yeah, it's fun sometimes.
Uh, sometimes.
Yeah,
Well, I
sometimes.
mean, like, I guess, like, on the topic of, like, your current job, just like, what do you think is the best part of, like, your job at the current moment? Like, is it the
I think
clients?
it's pretty cool to like kind of just see like because since I work single, like I do custom homes, so it's kind of like
Mm-hmm.
we're kind of like the architects give us the design of kind of like what the owners and envisioning for their home.
Mm-hmm.
And, these are like big couple acre lots, and they have like this home on just like a big vast piece of land. And my job is just to make the engineering work for it. So like I don't really do any of like the cool like design pre-development stuff like that. So it's just kind of cool to see like what they're envisioning and kind of like just coming up with a solution for like what they're trying to do. And it's always something different because every owner has like a different vision for their home.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like I'm building like 3 bedroom, 2 bath house, suburban area. That I'd probably be too bored if I had to do something like that.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Like, if it's
Yeah,
the same old thing, like, every
yeah,
house is
just
completely different,
yeah,
so
just building residential suburbs. That wouldn't be as exciting as probably what I'm doing right now.
I
Um,
see.
yeah,
I
and
could
then
definitely
like
see the
even with
benefit.
like the clients too, like you can Google like these clients and there's like these big people. Like I have a project for like Tom DeLonge. He's from Blink 182.
Oh.
He's on Angels and Airwaves now, but I mean like he's building a home in that area. Same
Oh,
with
okay.
like I have another one for like Jimmy Butler
Oh.
from the Miami Heat.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, you
Oh,
get to work with like cool people like that, and it's pretty exciting.
that's dang. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I mean, the work isn't anything crazy, but like just the concept of it is pretty cool.
Not for sure.
Hmm.
I just getting to meet like I mean, not gonna lie, reason I chose film as like one of them is like, ooh, I get to meet people in the industry, and it's
Hmm.
like getting to like, even if it's not like they don't know my name firsthand, it's just like being able to
Yeah,
work with like someone so like well known is kind of like, ooh, that's cool.
yeah, that definitely be exciting. So,
Yeah, for sure.
hmm.
Uh, I think a big question for many of us,
Hmm.
whether it is graduating or like, you know, after graduation, is how are you being productive during these times with like COVID and like having to stay inside most of the time and all that stuff?
Um, it's tough. It's definitely tough. I mean, like I went through my phases of work where things were really slow, you
Hmm.
know. So I kind of like balanced all that out. Being at home a lot more often, like I live with my girlfriend, so like we have to like spend more time at home, like just together, and that can be hard at times, when you can't go out and do things, kind of like take your mind off things.
Hmm.
So it's not easy. I feel like at least my lifestyle, it's pretty adaptable to
Oh,
these
okay.
times. I'm pretty much a homebody. But I know it can definitely be like tougher on others in terms of not being able to go out. But
Mhm.
I'm pretty used to it.
I
For
think
me,
I
it
think.
was just more tough in terms of like work and like relationships.
Oh, okay. Okay,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah, I mean, like there are benefits to staying home, but it's just like, oh man, a full year, like almost a full year of that was kind of like,
Mhm.
uh, it gets
Yeah.
exhausting. But
Yeah. And I'm
yeah.
kind of lucky too. I work in like a kind of a small office, so we can kind of go in the office. So
Oh,
I don't really have to work from home that often. I feel
oh,
like
that's pretty good.
when I work from home, I'm like so unproductive. It's so hard. It's like I can't imagine like going to school, like work, like being on these Zoom call things. Like when I was a student, I was like sleeping through lectures, so I can't imagine like I can't imagine like Zooms.
Oh, it's so bad,
Yeah.
especially when it's just like now the normal is just like, oh, we're just gonna pre-record stuff. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
great, more time to procrastinate, I
Mhm.
guess. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's hard to really keep motivated, especially with classes, because it's
And your
only
teachers probably don't even like see you or like interact with you. Like probably most people have like their cameras off and stuff like
oh,
that.
yeah, no, for
So
sure.
it's like it's definitely different. It's definitely
Hmm.
a lot more like self motivation, and give you guys a lot of props going through that.
Yeah, I I did not expect to go through my final year all through online, so
Oh
it is
yeah,
what
that's
it is.
tough too.
Just like, oh man, I guess I'm
Yeah.
graduating online. Let's go.
Hmm.
But and I wouldn't say we take those, but it is what it is.
Yeah, you just make the best of it, and hopefully things get better.
Yeah, I would hope things get. I mean, the
Yeah,
vaccine is
yeah,
already coming through circulation, so that's
yeah,
definitely a good sign.
yeah.
So,
It's definitely like my girlfriend already got it, which is pretty cool. So,
oh, okay,
but I'm
yeah.
a normal person, so I gotta wait.
Y- you and me both.
Yeah.
Dang. Anyway, now I guess we're gonna be switching our focus more into more fusion related stuff. This is a
Hmm.
fusion podcast after all.
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
I guess we're gonna go back to the beginning, as they say. It's like, uh, how did you get involved with fusion, and like, what was your reason for like coming back like every year?
Yeah, so I had a buddy in my biomedical class. They put us like in these groups, and he was in Fusion. He was kind of telling me about, oh, hey, you should come check out Fusion. It's pretty cool. It's like a Filipino engineering club, and it's like, oh, I'm half. Maybe I can fit in there. But I never like took him on it and actually went. I was like, I'm very so busy with my classes, like, and I got like a solid group of friends right now. So like that was like what my first quarter. So I kind of just like let it be. And then
Hmm.
like by my like by the end of my winter quarter, beginning of spring quarter, my friend group was kind of thinning out, and like I was in civil engineering now that by then, and I was kind of like things were a lot going a little bit more smoother. So I was like, oh, maybe I should start like getting involved with clubs. So the first one I checked out was basically Fusion that my friend recommended to me.
Hmm.
So I kind of just walked in, it's like there wasn't like a lot of people. It was like what 10, 15 people in there. They all kind of stared at me. But but they were all like really friendly. They're all really kind. And it was they were very welcoming. So it was just really nice to be in an environment like that. So like they're like, oh hey, come check out this. We're doing this. Come hang out with us like this, that.
Mhm.
So because I don't know, the first impression was really good. I just kept going back and back, and
Mhm.
like yeah, it just went really good. And then like I was in the club for I don't know, like a month maybe, and they're like, "Oh,
Uh-huh.
hey, we're having our like, our board or like they're doing their board position stuff." And
Oh,
I was like, "Yeah, sure, why not? I'll try it out." And it kind of just like it all kind of just blew up from there.
I see.
Mhm.
Dang. Under I mean, like I would also say that I fell victim to fusion by friends of mine also. But
Mhm.
like my first year, I was very introverted because
Yeah.
first year you're still trying to get like everything in order. It's like, oh, you're in a new school, so
Mhm.
it's like I don't need clubs right now. I'm busy with schoolwork and
Yeah,
all that.
exactly.
And then literally my second year, I was like, I should join some clubs. And
Mhm.
then friends of mine are like, oh, you should join Fusion. It's like, I mean, I guess I'll stop by the booth. And then
Mhm.
it wasn't the same ever since. And then I joined the
Yeah.
club and all that stuff. So yeah,
Oh, it's
definitely
it's
a
just it's
welcome.
just nice. They're super friendly. They're super kind. Because it's like a smaller club. There's like a lot less like cliques and stuff like that.
Hmm.
It's a good growing environment to be part of. It's just like a good solid group of people that you really can't go wrong with.
For sure, for sure.
Hmm.
Totally agree. Uh, Following up with that question, how did Fusion contribute to your growth during your time in UCI?
Oh man, I think I mean Fusion. I mean not to put it lightly, but like I mean Fusion gave me like everything in college. Like I
Hmm.
was just like a shy introverted kid who was kind of just like trying to get through college, get my 4 years done and just start working.
Hmm.
It's kind of just like the trajectory that you get built into your head, from a young age.
Hmm.
And Fusion kind of gave me that space to kind of just like develop socially, make friends, long lasting friends, because like even now, 5 years out of college, all my friends from like my year graduating and like the year before that, we're all still good. We hang out like we spend like Christmas and Thanksgiving every year together. It's just it's crazy with just the people you can meet and come. And I think just like the biggest thing is just like confidence. I think
Hmm.
Fusion just escalated my like confidence like exponentially. From Fusion, I was able to join other clubs, be part of their boards, and just meet different types of people, make different types of friends. And I think that's just kind of stuff I wasn't able to do before. And then all that confidence was able to like follow me past college and into like my job interviews, into dating, into like all these things that you kind of just go through um, after college. Like
Hmm.
I felt like confidence, I think, was just the biggest thing for me. And so, yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure. I especially the confidence part. I could definitely see how, like in my case, like Fusion did the exact same thing for me. Like,
Yeah.
granted, like not gonna lie, I wasn't thinking about doing board during my
Hmm.
time in Fusion, but then all my friends were like, "Yo, you should do a board position," and I was like, I mean, I don't know which one I'll be good at, but and then one thing led to another, and now I'm secretary. So,
Yeah. And
and
honestly,
then
it doesn't really matter what board position you
yeah,
do. It's
no,
just
like
I
that's what
I, I want
I.
to like I want to preface it's like I only built my confidence because I did Fusion board, right? Like, it's like nothing prepares you more than like being thrown in front of like Alianza NSO, in front of like all these people that are probably looking at the other three clubs and maybe like your club last. It's like
Yeah.
you have to convince them, hey, check out my club and try to sound as interesting as possible. It's just like it's such a nerve-wracking experience, but like being able to go through it and like understanding like, oh, like, maybe I could have done this better, or maybe I could emphasize this better. And just
Hmm.
doing that throughout the year, like, you know, just public speaking to this club week in and week out, running general meetings and being in a board and like organizing things and communicating with your on like an equal level is just like there's so much you get out of Fusion by just like how much you put into it, you know.
Mhm.
So I felt like I gave it as much as I could within like my capacity, and I feel like because of that, I got the most out of it.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Yeah, and I feel like Fusion also like the good thing also is like it's not that big of a club, so it's like you're definitely like way more connected to the people that like if you do board, it's like oh you want everyone in there to like feel welcome, and it's like
Hmm.
you don't have that much, you have way more connection to them, so you feel more motivated to be like I want this whole club to succeed, like I want to make sure that every general member feels like welcome in some sort of way. So
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like because it's a small club, like every person who walks in, it's like you want that person to stay. You want them to be there because you don't have like so many people that you're worrying about. It's like it's so much easier just like reach out to these people and stay connected with them and keep motivating them to keep coming back.
mhm.
You don't feel like overwhelmed by all of it.
Yeah.
So it's just really cool just like being able to do those things. And I feel like that's the stuff you don't get if you just focus on school.
Yeah.
If you just focus on education, or even if you just focus on just being a general member,
Mhm.
it's like, yeah, it's fun just being a general member, but there's so much growth that you kind of rob yourself of by not doing these like bigger positions or just like trying to run something, and manage something.
Mhm. So for
Hmm.
you, for you watching this podcast, and you are part of Fusion or a general member, do board. It's pretty good. I would
Yeah,
rate it.
I always recommend it. The harder the position, the better, man.
No,
Just like
honestly, you'll just
reach reach as high as you can, even if you get rejected. It's like rejection is good for you. It builds character, it toughens
exactly.
you up, it gives you thicker skin, that
Mm,
prepares you for like job interviews when you
honestly,
don't hear. It's just like you don't understand like these life skills that you're missing out on until you actually like put yourself out there.
no, for sure.
Hmm.
I definitely doing Fusion board was like I would have definitely regretted not doing it if I
Yeah.
graduated without having this experience for sure.
Yeah, like even onto all your board members. Don't just be whatever position you are. Go for president. Try
Uh,
being the president. Just like
exactly.
take on that highest level and like truly see what you're capable of.
Exactly.
It's just like even just being a board member is enough. You got to go for president.
Exactly.
Even though only one
Granted,
person can win it, you should
yeah.
go for it.
I mean, granted, if if you're graduating, it's kind of like that's a,
Yeah,
it's
yeah. If you miss that boat, but just take what you can get from now.
exactly, exactly. Yeah, if you're a third year right now, you better go for president your fourth year.
Exactly,
Exactly.
Like, did I stop after my presidency? No, I did Alianza board my
Like,
last year. I didn't take
oh.
it easy. You just got to keep pushing yourself. It's like the more you take on, the more you like put yourself through, the better.
Exactly. Damn. This is one of the best advertisements for board that we've ever had
Yeah,
on the
yeah,
podcast. So,
exactly. You should just snip it, put it out on like your next meeting, and just
yeah,
like why you should do
motivational speech.
board.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Nah, for sure. Uh,
Yeah.
I guess one of our final fusion questions is
Mhm.
in what's one of your favorite fusion moments or memories that you have within the club?
Ooh, it's a hard one. I gotta say though, my best moments is probably after I got off board during my last year,
Mm,
not having to focus on like just people and just focusing on just fun for a year because I felt like I didn't really have my first year with them. It was only like a quarter, and kind of
mm-hmm,
like part of that I spent as a transitioning board member,
mm-hmm,
and then my next 2 years were just as a board member. So it was kind of cool. My fourth year just kind of like fun, especially since it was my last year.
mm-hmm,
Kind of like a couple of us from that year, we kind of just took it on us to kind of just make the most out of the year and just spend as much time as we could together and invite anyone who wanted to spend it with us. Every week we are like going to the pub once or twice a week. We are doing like trying to do like the trivia nights. Um, we were going out for dinner. We're just doing all these sort of things and just inviting whoever wanted to join us,
mm-hmm,
just to make the most of our year. And I feel like that kind of like solidified a lot of our friendships coming out of college,
mm-hmm,
and we kind of just maintained it all since. Some of us ended up living together. We hosted like parties every year for like Christmas and Thanksgiving, and all that stuff just kind of carried through. COVID kind of messed it up this year, but
it really did.
but I mean, like just be able to like every year just throw out an invite, and ton of people just show up every year just because we're all just that close, even
Hmm.
after all these years, is a pretty cool thing, and it's a great thing to be part of.
No.
So definitely, I think just that last year as a whole, I really take on as my favorite moment because it
Hmm.
kind of just like set up like my friendships for kind of like till this moment, basically.
For sure.
Hmm.
Damn, you speaking about the pub is like it really broke my heart because I was like, damn, I turned 21 and was not able to go.
Oh man.
And I was so excited my first year. It's like, oh my God, there's a pub on campus. I can't wait to
Hmm.
go there when I'm
Oh man. Well,
21.
you know what, man? If you put your mind to it, you'll be going to the pub even after you graduate, because that's what I was doing.
For
Going to the
sure.
pub, it's like it's just a good time, even if you're not a student,
Hmm.
just like the pub is full of people who aren't students anymore. So
It's like
like it's just
50-50.
yeah, it's just you didn't miss out on anything. You can still enjoy it.
Ah,
But yeah, definitely there's a lot of good times made there.
for sure. I believe it.
Hmm.
For sure. All right. So we are now at the ending question, which is
All
a
right.
question that I asked all the guests that have been on this podcast. So what is your plan now, and what's your biggest goal at the current moment?
Biggest what's my plan now? That's a hard thing.
Yeah.
I'm not really one to like really like plan much in
Mm.
advance in my
Mm-hmm.
future. I know I should probably be working on my like engineering license, but I've just been putting it off and being kind of lazy. But I'll get around to it eventually. Other than that, like I just recently bought a home with my girlfriend, which is pretty exciting. So definitely a lot of our time and energy has been spent on working on it. Still not done even after like 2 months. So it's a lot of work. So like I feel like a lot of that, so a lot of my energy, and especially during COVID, is just my home. Just like my relationships and
Mm-hmm.
just trying to stay healthy. Yeah.
Understandable.
Hmm.
I mean, I guess follow-up question is once, COVID dies down, hopefully like really or soon, like by the end of this year, is there like any place that you would just want to travel to on top of that?
Yeah, me and my girlfriend were already planning on traveling to Chicago. We want
Ooh.
we want some deep dish pizza.
I was gonna say,
Check
I was
that stuff
like,
out. Yeah, so we're already looking at it. Prices are pretty cheap right now. But we'll see if we want to wait till after COVID or not.
oh, okay.
Yeah. What
No.
about you, man? What's your biggest goals going on at the moment?
Oh,
No one ever asked you
oh man,
that?
you hit me with the, what's my, I
Yeah.
mean, like, short, I mean, like, the fact that I'm in, winter, or was that 2 quarters away from graduating, the
Hmm.
plan is to definitely to graduate, like,
Yeah.
but, that's short term. I guess, like, long term, I guess, in relation to, like, traveling, like, once COVID dies down and is like, I don't know, probably before, like, I start, like, really trying to find jobs within my major, I just want to
Hmm.
travel to Japan. I think Japan's like like on top of my list of going to.
So fun, man.
Oh,
Once
you've been?
COVID, you got to go there when COVID ends, but it's so
Honestly,
much fun.
yeah.
Probably my
And
favorite place I've gone to so far.
I'm so excited. Like people have hyped it up so much, and I'm like,
Yeah, yeah,
I can't wait to go. Like
yeah.
even if I just stay in Tokyo, like that's
Hmm.
like perfect for me,
It's very
especially for my
plain,
first
dude.
time.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, I went there for like 10 days or something. It didn't feel like 10 days was enough. It's so much fun.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
All
Hmm.
right. I guess that concludes third edition of this Fusion podcast. I've been your host, Kevin Bacon. Thank you so much, Andrew, for being part of this.
Yeah, and thank you
Uh,
so much for having me, man.
no problem. Thank you for
Yeah,
reaching out. But
yeah.
I guess a question I have
Hmm.
is there anyone specifically that you would like to call out to be part of this podcast?
Oh man.
You could
I mean,
it could be multiple people.
I
It could be
don't know if you're ever gonna get him to do it, but if you can get Adam Evangelista to do this podcast, he will be a blast. I'm
All right.
guaranteeing. Yeah.
Yeah. Feel might hopeful. Do you know if
Or
I'll
another one. Here's another one too.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Daniel Redondo. He's like the historian of fusion.
Oh, okay.
One of those two people, if you can get them to do it, they're great.
Now for sure, for sure.
Hmm.
I definitely need. Not gonna lie, we've been on a roll with presidents, so maybe some more variety in these.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Adam was a president, so maybe he'd be another president. But Dan Redondo, I don't think he was ever president, so I
Oh,
think
okay,
he if you can get him on, which is really getting in contact with him is really hard to do, but if you can get him on, he's a blast.
for sure. I'll keep those people in mind. I
All right, sweet.
might message you asking for their names in full in
Yeah,
case I
no
forget.
problem.
But yeah, thank you so much.
Yep, thank you for having me.
Yeah.